Hey everyone, Gage Ryan here, and welcome back to another deck profile at long last. So before I get started, be sure to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and if you love me, you can support me on Patreon. Links are in the description. So we're talking about Anti-Meta Stun today, and it's just one of my favorite decks of all time. I love how it evolves, like all the way from the times of playing things like Doom Caliber Knight and Cyber Dragon in the main deck, all the way to now, where it's just this weird little conglomerate that I've put together for you. So I really like this deck. It's been a lot of fun. I've only put a couple weeks, I'd say, of like really solid testing into it, but I feel like I finally got it working the way I want it to, and it's been pretty successful so far. And it's never finished. I don't think any of my deck profiles, my deck lists are ever really finished. You know, so I'm always looking for suggestions and ways to change the deck. My deck lists are always evolving, so if you have any suggestions, be sure to leave a comment, and we'll get right into it. So to start it off, you got 3 Fenrir. It seems like every time that I take this card out of my decks just lose so much firepower that I just end up putting the card back in anyway. I mean, it really is just one of the best cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's the Pankratops of this era, I guess. Then 3 Fossildyna, 3 Jowgen, and 3 Barrier Statue of the Heavens. So with Fossildyna and Jowgen, I don't really think they need a lot of explanation. We get why they're good. But with Barrier Statue of the Heavens specifically, it works so well with the Dogmatika engine, and I love using it in combination with Decisive Battle, to where if you have nothing else on turn 1, if you literally have nothing but Barrier Statue of the Heavens and Decisive Battle, you can play those 2 cards, your opponent summons a monster and attacks. So then Decisive Battle triggers, you're going to go ahead and send your Ash Dragon to the graveyard. And so then end phase, you're going to get Ecclesia special summon to the field because it's also a light, so it gets under your Barrier Statue of the Heavens. So long story short, you +2 and you keep your Barrier Statue of the Heavens in place, so your opponent's still locked down. So it's a great little interaction that this deck has, so I like it a lot. So then double border, just 2 for now. I go back and forth with 2 and 3, but because I put the Fenrirs in here, it doesn't seem as necessary now. And then double Ecclesia, like I mentioned before. I mean, the Dogmatika engine's just one of the best in Yu-Gi-Oh! And just being able to search for punishment whenever you feel like it. Nadir Servant's amazing. You guys know what they do. More Dogmatika monsters is something I'm considering, but for now, this is the monster lineup. It's 16 monsters. On to the spells, you got Triple Moon Mirror Shield, one of the best anti-meta cards in the game. It's fantastic, especially with Jowgen. So then 3 Decisive Battle. I didn't even know what this card was until recently. Shout out to the members of my Facebook group, the Anti-Meta Alliance. I think Yori Landsman in particular, shout out to him. I think I saw this in one of his deck lists, and I mean, wow, is this card good. I had no idea what this card was, and it is phenomenal. It's instantly become one of the best cards in my deck, like, hands down. I mean, this card single-handedly protects anything on your field from battle or card effect once per turn, and it's phenomenal. I mean, like, there's so many cards that this protects you from. And so, I mean, even if you just have a Barrier Statue of the Heavens and no way to protect it, this card will protect it. And I mean, that's all you need. All you really need is to get past turn 1 and 2, and then Anti-Meta Stun really takes over the game. So then Triple Nadir Servant, another one of the best cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! In my opinion. I'll use this card to, like, bait negate sometimes, and then play, like, Pot of Prosperity after it, or something like that. I mean, just excellent card. So speaking of which, Triple Pot of Prosperity, card's excellent. Double Necro Valley, the best field spell in Yu-Gi-Oh! One of the best field spells of all time. Being able to stop anything graveyard is just so good. I mean, I know it's not good against Cash, and it's not good against Pendulums, but the thing is outside of those 2 decks, it's good against pretty much everything else. Terraforming to go with the Necro Valley, and then 1 Cosmic Cyclone. It's just like I didn't want to lose this card, like, as a utility card, if that makes sense. I never really know about this card because there are so many other ways of getting rid of spell and trap cards with this deck, but I do like it. Just have that spell speed 2 way of getting rid of a field spell is usually pretty good whenever you get the chance to use it. Another card that I did consider is Forbidden Lance because it's just great against impermanence, because impermanence is one of your, a turn 2 impermanence, if you will, is like one of this deck's biggest problems, so you have to kind of build to play around that. But I don't know, for now it's Cosmic Cyclone. Onto the traps, not as many as you'd expect. I don't want to open a bunch of traps going second. I feel like this deck should balance being able to go first and second, so you know, that's why I built it the way I did. So, Triple Tikaboo, one of the best cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's fantastic. I mean, like, even something as simple as, like, a Fenrir and Tikaboo is so hard for a lot of decks to get around. And then if you have, like, another Floodgate or something like a Fossildyna to go with it, it's just tough, man. And Triple Dogmatika Punishment, it's excellent. It just, being able to search it whenever you want, using Elder God and Atis to be able to send it, to pop another card or something like that. It just has a lot of usage in the deck outside of just getting rid of 1 monster. 1 Solemn Judgment, just 1 in the main. you don't want to have like 3 in the main, have to go second, and draw into a bunch of solemns. You don't want that, so just 1 in the main. And then the Infinite Impermanence, just 1. It's a good utility to have because, again, it is a good going second card and whatnot. But it's another one of those cards that with Necro Valley, if you're drawing it and Necro Valley and other cards like that, it's not the greatest card interaction sometimes, so just 1. Usually my extra decks I don't think matter all too much because a lot of my decks are just very stun-based, but with this I really did have to think and move a lot of cards around. So you got triple Ash Dragon, which is mandatory because of your decisive battles. Unfortunately, you can't send Elder God and a Tis. I wish you could, that'd be great, but this is your only real target right now. That's another reason why I've considered putting more Dogmatika cards in the main deck or the extra deck or whatnot to have more targets for decisive battle. But it just hasn't come up as a real necessity yet, so for now it's just the 3 Ash Dragon. Triple Natis, great card. I love it when people play Dogmatika cards against me and make me send cards from my extra deck to the graveyard. That just tickles me pink. Double Garura, another great card. It's good to send off Nadir Servant, but I always have to watch whenever you use Pot of Prosperity and have this. It can just be not the greatest card interaction sometimes, so you gotta watch out with this card. Then you got your Super Poly targets, which is Starving Venom, you got Mud Dragon, you got Duplexer Chimera, and Chimera Tech. And then you got your Waken the Dragon targets, which are Last Warrior from Another Planet. Love this card to death. Materia Beast, which is really good, especially in game 2 and 3, when sometimes your opponent's sides very spell heavy and they have a lot of cards like Lightning Strike and whatnot. You throw Naturia Beast in play, or if they're playing like Pendulums or something like that, you throw Naturia Beast in, you probably win. And then Mechaba, in case they get rid of your Waken the Dragon and all you have as a Floodgate currently is a Barrier statue, then that means you can still special summon Mechaba off of it. On to the side deck. You got triple Barrier Statue of the Drought, because if your opponent's playing a light-heavy deck, then of course you side out your 3 light statues, side in your 3 earth statues. I have no idea why more people don't do this, because that way it makes it so that you don't have this giant gaping hole in your deck in game 2 and 3, so. Triple Super Poly, in my opinion, it's just one of the best cards in the game. It's one of the best board breakers that exists. I mean, like, most decks have a first turn field that you will have an extra deck card to use this with. Just in most cases, right? Like, it's fantastic. 1 Lightning Storm and a Harpy's Feather Duster, just great answers, generic board wipes, you get it. Triple Evenly Match, go with the same philosophy. You always want to be able to go second, you know. I know that there's a lot of decks out there that play like 20 trap cards, and they kind of just scoop if they go second, and I'm not a fan of that strategy. I like being able to balance going first and second. Just feels kind of useless sometimes, just throwing away a whole game of a 2 out of 3 match whenever you can't go first. Like, relying on the die roll has just never been a good strategy, in my opinion, especially as a player like myself that loses the die roll way more often than I win it, so it is what it is. You got a second God Says No if you happen to go first. Being able to have 2 Solemns and Awakening and other things like that usually prevent your opponent from being able to strike you or Feather Duster you or whatnot. Other cards that I'm considering are Bribe or another Waking the Dragon. I've considered playing 2 of it, but I'm just not sure yet, so we'll see how it goes. You got an Unending Nightmare because I fucking hate pendulums. They are just the bane of my existence. I hate the entire mechanic. But it's also, there are a lot of decks that just utilize continuous spells, and most decks nowadays have field spells. So if the deck's too reliant on a field spell, or if it's some random shit like Evil Eye or whatnot, then you can easily Unending Nightmare them and kind of just win the game with that and a Floodgate. Imperial Iron Wall, just exceptional card. It's you know, if you can't use cards like Necro Valley against the deck, sometimes you can get away with using Iron Wall against them. You have, for example, the Cash deck. You know, you can't use Necro Valley against them pretty much at all, but Iron Wall absolutely destroys them. So, miscellaneous stuff like that. And then Waken the Dragon. Like I said, I'm considering playing 2. You know, I keep thinking about it, but it's just, this card doesn't directly do anything. Like, especially if you play, like, if you draw, like, 2 of it, for instance, it doesn't do anything defensively. You have to be able to either have control of the field another way already, or you have to just pray to God that they Feather Duster you, like, opening turn, you know? So, it's a good card like Silver Sentinel, if you will, but I just don't know how many more I would want to play of it. I definitely won't play 3 in this deck, but it's just a matter of playing between 1 and 2, so we'll see what happens. But that's about it for the deck list. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If there's anything you change or anything that I missed out on, be sure to leave a comment, and I'll see you soon.